All right. Yeah, I see some early birds. Hey Arnold, how you doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Some early birds. Yes. So it's been a few days. We haven't had a conversation, and yeah, we're finally back. And today is going to be one of the most amazing topics. I believe that this is going to be my either defining moment or my one of those moments where I lost in translation. Because hey Shati, how you doing? Spirituality is a personal thing. So today we're talking about is success spiritual really? Is it really spiritual? Or is it something that we actually like to sort of dress up as being spiritual? Emily, how you doing? So yeah, so I'm excited. This is I'm telling you, it's my most exciting topic. I spent time meditating and thinking about it and saying, how do I connect? And really the way I like to communicate these messages is, hey Tyra, how you doing? Godwin Batuma, how you doing? Yeah, so there's a lot of people, so I'm gonna crack on right now. So if this is your first time to come to Lose Your Mind, I welcome you. My name is Danny. I'm the founder of Lose Your Mind. It's a tribe of individuals that are driven by one purpose, and the purpose is to really transform their lives and the lives of many other people. So we want to do well and do good. That's really that's at the center of everything we do. It forms the ethos of the organization. You know, doing well for yourself and doing good for other people. So I'm super excited. When I started the organization, I was actually really focused on just trying to teach and train and develop young people, especially in the African continent, who would then go on to become the influencers of the future, you know, thought leaders, and also what we call change makers. And, you know, this thing is really mushroomed now into a bigger, if you like, thing. It's going to be one of the best think tanks in the world, where we have a collective, if you like, of so many different talented people from different demographics, different experiences and stuff. And there's a lot of wealth in terms of knowledge and, conversations we can share. So really, we've been, having a chat. I've been driving this, so very soon I start to sort of relinquish the controls and let other people come in and give you their perspective. So my conversations are based on what does Danny do in this situation. It's not really a written script where we go, the book said, or somebody said this or whatever. This is the stuff that I do in my life, and I want to share my perspective on life, and it's really been tremendous for me. It's helped me in so many different ways. I've got some notes. I do take these things seriously, so I write it down. But listen, this is what's happened. Over the last few months, we've had over 200,000 people, 250,000 people that have viewed our videos. And I've got to tell you, my inbox is completely chock-a-block. People sending me messages of appreciation and love. People saying, this is fantastic. I had no idea that, there's such a huge appetite for education, for growth, for folks around the world. And I get emails, I get text messages, I get WhatsApp messages. Mainly I get lots of messages in my DMs. People from all over the world, like people, I've never even seen them on now, but we have over 10,000 people on our Lose Your Mind tribe. So I want to appreciate you for recommending us, but also, I thank you for supporting this, I believe is a very, very good cause. Education is key, knowledge is power if you apply it the right way. So let's get started. So today's an Exposed series, and last week, the week before, we talked about leadership, exposed. We talked about communication, exposed. We've also talked about AIM, which was a completely different series, and that was really, really great. We've had, enormous response from that. And again, we're not selling anything. Nobody's paying us money to do this, but I have a team of people around me that are really doing a great job. Kevin and a whole bunch of guys that are actually, in the background supporting the tribe. And I thank you for that. I really appreciate you for that. So today we're going to talk about something that I love, that's so dear to me, spirituality. Okay, what does this really mean? And how do we apply this into our life? So we talk about spirituality and we talk about success. Okay, now success is the way people define success. In most people's minds, success is the acquisition of things. A lot of people attribute success to things that you see or things you have. They don't really attribute to things you become. And I want to really nourish your spirit today and give you an idea, concept. Today, I'm going to be less animated. I'm not going to do rah-rah. I'm not playing any guitars today, but I'm telling you, this is very, very powerful. So, for me, is that part of you. It's that part of you that we use to connect with God, or we choose to abandon. Okay, and there's a big difference between your spiritual man or your spirit man and your soul. Okay, I'm not going to go into the technicalities. I want to try and keep it simple because for some of you this is going to be very difficult to understand. But stay with me. Stay with me. Let me bring it to you in the most simple way that I can articulate. This is my perception. Okay? Your spiritual life is that part of you that you use to connect with God or with gods. Okay? And I'm going to be very cautious when I say this because not all of us worship the same God. Some people have a way they access whatever they worship, whatever they praise, and they refer that to their God. Okay? And I'm not here to judge anybody. I just believe in the true God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. But I don't condemn or, say I don't really believe, this religion or this faith should be allowed or whatever. Everybody has an opportunity to praise God the way they want to praise God. But let's talk about your spirit man. How does this connect to you being successful? What we're talking about success in the spiritual realm. We're talking about spirituality, dressed up to become a part of you that people say, that guy or that lady is spiritually successful. And again, I caution you, do not take success and bundle it into this bubble and say, because somebody has a very nice, expensive car, or because they live in a 6-bedroom house with a swimming pool, that's what you call success. They are partly successful. There's a part of their lives that they can refer to as we're wealthy. Okay? Wealth and success are not one and the same. They're two very different things. So we're talking about success, yeah? Now, what I want to bring forward to you is human beings, we are created with the potential to actually acquire a spirit. We can live in spirit, we can live in the absence of spirit because we abandon it. It doesn't mean it's not there. It means that you actually abandon your spiritual life. And I've met people, when I talk about spirituality, they grimace, they go, what's wrong with this guy? Like, I thought you were really a nice guy. I thought you were really an intelligent guy. I thought why are you talking about spirituality? Well, let me tell you something. And I teach this all the time. Whatever you worship it diligently, with devotion. I worship God and I keep talking about that and I keep putting God in it. I'm very proud of it. I am so much better than I used to be because my God is elevated in me. And I wanna go there, but I don't want to preach to you. I want you to understand where I'm coming from on this perspective, right? So we are, as human beings, we are pure potential. We are pure potential. We have the potential. We're the only creatures that have the potential to connect a spirit that lives in a man to the Spirit of God. So, the higher self. So when people look for spirituality, they're looking for their higher self. They're going, I'm looking to, reach the higher selves, which is what I call God. Some people call it different things. They go, I want to reach a higher self. So watch this, right? So when you talk about spiritual success, it's not about what you have. It's rather what you become. It's what you become in your spiritual, realm. And I want to go there. The internal reference for a human being is your inner man. Okay, and I want to really make you understand this. We have a reference. So your inner man, your spirit man is what we refer to. And let me make a difference here. I want to make a disparity between your soul. Your soul is really the seat of all your, what we call, or I can call it a bed. I can call it a bed of your senses. That's your soul. Your soul is alive. The soul is alive. And when somebody passes on, you hear people say, may their soul rest in eternal peace, right? The soul is alive. It's that part of you that's alive. Your desires, your affection, your compassion, all of those things rest in your soul. So all of us have a soul. Every single one of us. It's just that some of us don't actually activate our spiritual life. So we don't have a spirit. Or we actually choose to live in the absence or in the ignorance that I don't really believe in that spiritual stuff. And spirituality has nothing to do with religion. Please be very careful. Religion is faith. Religion is, there's what we call religion, which is, praising and worshiping a higher, human or controller of all things, which is God or whatever gods you worship. Okay, that's religion. But there's what they call religious beliefs as well. So be very careful. There's faith. Religion is faith. But then it's how you actually practice that faith, that the things that govern that faith. And I want to really make that distinction. So I hope you're getting there. So what we have as human beings, we have what we call self-referral and we have object referral. So when I say self-referral, I'm referring to you as your inner self, your inner man, your God-given man. There is something that's planted in you that can access the links to, hey, Egri, the links to the Spirit of God, right? So understand that, right? My spirit is elevated, it's alive, it's activated. So therefore I have access to, I can link that spirit to the Spirit of God. I can link it to, people who worship witchcraft and things like that. They're also spiritual. They choose to use their spirit in a different way. They choose to use it in a different kingdom. I choose to use mine in the kingdom of God. And I'm going to go there and I want to link this to how do you become successful if you're spiritually endowed? That's the question. Because human beings tend to have this disparity where you think that spirituality and success are divorced. Let me tell you, every person that's successful, everyone that has acquired abundances in life has a connection to their spiritual life. They practice a spiritual walk, whether it's a spirit of darkness or whether it's a spirit of light. And again, I don't want to go into the, this is this and this is that and this is right, this is wrong. You be the judge. I don't know. I'm not God, but I just know that I believe in God. It's a completely different conversation, right? So one of the things we do is when you talk about object referral, people who are unaware or they're absent in spirit, what they do is they worship the things that they have. People who have a knowledge or they have acknowledged the presence of spirit, they actually draw their energy, their power. They draw everything they have from within, from the inner man, right? And I'm going to make a disparity, okay? Or a difference, right? So there's what we call object referral and there's what you call personal or self-referral, okay? So some people, when you give them a position, they become powerful, okay? Some people, when they have an event, they draw energy from that. They go, you see, that's my wedding. I'm a big person, right? Some people, when they buy a really nice car, they go, you see, I'm the Ferrari guy. I'm that guy, the Ferrari guy, right? Some people, when they have a really beautiful home, they go, that's my house. That's my house, right? Now, when you're centered on what we call object referral, therefore your juice, your energy is derived from the things you've acquired. You're actually vacant in the spirit, but you're actually endowed and present in physical acquisition. So therefore that becomes your reference point. So it's what we call object referral. Now, whatever you worship and whatever you believe in, whatever you put your faith in, anytime it's been removed, the faith that you had, the power that you had, the confidence you had goes with it. Oh, I don't know if you got that bit. So if you have a propensity or you have a tendency of worshiping objects or worshiping a position, the minute it's been removed, everything that actually came with it goes with it. Watch, I'm going to tell you a story. There's a man, I read a story of a man and it was so powerful. This man is a general, and some of you know him if I mention his name. He wrote a story, it was so beautiful, a beautiful article. And he said, before I go to bed, I asked one of my soldiers to press my uniform and hang it at the foot of my bed so I can see it as I sleep, and I watch it. And I watch the uniform. He says, so when I woke up in the morning, one day the thought hit him. He said, no, hold on a second. What if somebody came? What if somebody came and took the uniform and they were to put on that uniform and they were to walk out of here, my pressed uniform, my well-ironed uniform, and they put on the shirt and they closed the collars and they walked out, and as soon as they come out, the guys who are actually standing guard outside, they start to salute them. And then the guy who's driving in the car, he salutes you because you're wearing a general's uniform. So therefore you are the general. Ask the question. Say, then when I walk out without my uniform, are they going to salute me? If I don't recognize, are they going to salute you? You see, when you meet a soldier that you've never met, they came in on the plane, they flew in, they came from, I don't know from where, from Malawi, and they landed in your country, they're in Kenya, they're in Uganda, they're in St. Lucia, they're in the US, wherever they land, if they wear, whatever they're wearing is what commands how you treat them. They are decorated by things that people call them. So watch this. The minute you remove the uniform, the whole behavior of those that are external to you change. But you see, the thing is, once you are a general, you are a general. You're not a general because of the uniform. It's just that people normally salute things. They don't salute you, they salute things. They salute the uniform you wear. Somebody said once, and there was another story that I read, powerful story, and the guy says, you know, whenever you work with your people, just send them home after some time. Say, everybody go home. And when they go home, then, you know, just close the office and then get out of your seat if you're the managing director and walk around and go right ahead and sit at the back and watch the seat. He says, that seat is the power. You don't hold the power. The minute somebody else comes and occupies that seat, bang, they hold the power. This is a typical example of what we call object referral. People draw their energy. You see, people who are focused on object referrals, or they derive their energy from the things that they've acquired or the positions they've been given, the medals that decorate them, what happens is they're actually fallacious. Inside, they're hollow. They have no spirit. And I'm not saying everybody that's successful and has those things has, you know, a vacancy in spirit. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, you know, a lot of the times we attribute our power to things rather than to ourselves. So now I'm going to go there, right? So the rank, the title, the chair, the uniform gets saluted, it gets worshipped, it makes the decisions. Anything that you say when you sit in that chair is gospel. Now, true success, people who have actually mastered success, Mother Teresa, and I can mention so many, Gandhi, you know, you may not believe in these people's philosophies. I have never seen in Forbes magazine somebody mentioning Gandhi as one of the most successful people. I have never seen somebody mention Mother Teresa as somebody who had so much money, but yet she did the works that she did, and everybody remarks upon them. It doesn't matter which denomination you come from. But watch this. What they had is they had self-referral. They were spirit-filled. You see, when you spirit-filled, things start looking for you to enrich you, to elevate you. It's okay? So this is where I want you to really make a distinction, okay? Material possessions, positions, circumstances, events, and people around you, talent even, skill, they don't begin to describe the person you are in terms of success. I know a lot of Premiership footballers, and I've been privileged to meet some of them personally. I know some of them by first name. But let me tell you something. There's been a lot of players, a lot of athletes that have actually finished the game. And the minute they finish the game, because they played the game based on their physical talent, their attributes, when they finish the game, they commit suicide. They go, I have no purpose. I have no purpose. The things that I worship, that shirt that I worship, the Manchester United shirt that I worshipped is gone. So now people no longer look at me as important. So I want to give you an idea about self-referral. What is the difference between object referral and self-referral? You see, object referral is fear-based. It has things, it draws from approvals. When somebody is powerful because of the things or the position they have, they seek approval. In everything they do, they go, do you like this? Is this good? Is this good? Does this work? And then, you know, they also, they find that most of the things they do, they have an element of fear of loss. They're always concerned, what if I lost this position? What would become of me if I didn't have this car? What would become of me if I lost the money that I have? So therefore, they are impoverished in spirit and they're abundant in physical or material stuff. Whatever you worship, the minute it's taken away from you, guess what? Everything that you put, the faith, the confidence, the power you drew from that also goes with it. People that are object referral based, they also anticipate a response all the time. They're always going, you know, did we get an answer? Are we, you know, what's going on? Do you think they like us? Do you think they like it? Because you're hollow, because your spirit man is vacant. The other thing that's object referral, they seek control. They have an intense urge to control everything. They're very, very power hungry. They want to be in charge of everything. I am in charge, you know, tell me that I'm the person who's in, how dare you say that person is in charge? They guard everything. They say, I am the person who controls this. I am the boss. I own this business. How dare you speak to me like that? That's called object referral. Because the minute the chair is gone, guess what? So is the power. Watch this. This is important. Their most powerful reference, when you have a person who is of object referral, what they refer to most is ego. And what is your ego? Your ego is your self-image. Your ego is your self-image. It's how you view yourself. Aesthetically, you know, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm that. Most of the time, the ego is very fragile, okay? What is ego? The ego is your social mask. It's what people think you are. But, you know, this is what happens. Whenever the curtains go down, the lights shut down, and you're sitting in the can in your bathroom, wherever you are, or in your bedroom alone, that's when the real you wakes up. Says, okay, so what are you going to say to me? You see, I mentioned this last training, and I say to you guys, I say, watch this. I said, guys, look, man, you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to yourself about the fact that you're lying to yourself. You can have your ego inflated saying you're this and you're this and you're this, but let me tell you something. The moment of truth is when you're alone, you're seated, you take self-inventory. And if you're impoverished in the spirit, that's where people go into a state of depression. You've seen people who had so much and everything, and they're walking on the streets, you know, speaking to themselves. They've lost, people go, man, money can make people go crazy. It's not the money. It's because you're worshiping something that doesn't give you a return. So what happens is when we worship objects, what they do is they start to eat at you. They start to say, I want more. They draw more. They're vampires. Objects are not really going to give you a return on your investment. You're investing everything you have in that car, and it will break down. And people will still look at you and look down on you with a Ferrari, and you go, man, I bought this car so everybody could just really take me on board. No. But you have seen them. I've been to places where I've seen these really old ladies and old men, and they have so much aura around them, and so much prestige, and so much wealth, and so much spirit, and they're so endowed. And everybody's saying, do you know who that is? They're not called kings and queens. They're just so loaded in the spirit, but it's so difficult for the ego to actually be, bruised. So when you don't have anything in the spirit, your ego is fragile. This is so important, right? What nourishes the ego is approval, is power, is control, is fear. Just like we eat food, the ego has to be fed. So you terrorize people because you're so scared. You go, you can't do my job. I'm the only person that can do my job. That's what managers do. You find that most managers are egotistic. I lived in England, and I have my family there. I still, I do a lot of my business in Africa, but, my home is in the UK. And let me tell you something, about the UK. British people are fantastic. I love British people. But a lot of them, they're so like, I want to touch it and say it and that. And what I find is that, we've gone through a phase where the world is changing. Watch this. Changing. I'm starting to see rappers going back to God. I'm starting to see people who were incarcerated for committing like heinous crimes going, I want to preach. I want to start talking about God, and I'm going, what's going on? We're in a revolution. There's a spiritual revolution happening. It's not religious, it's spiritual. It's a relational situation here. People are starting to relate to their inner man more than before. Because right now what we have is we're experiencing a downtime at home. So people are experiencing what we call a downtime. And some of you call it a lockdown. I call it a time to unlock your potential. So I'm in unlockdown moments right now. I'm unlocking everything. So I'm topping up on my spirit. I'm doing things, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I do to top up on my spirit. But you need to understand this. You need to understand this, right? Homes have now become our playgrounds. They become our nightclubs. They become our churches, our mosques. Homes have become schools, their offices. They're our, communal, organization. They're our town halls. Homes have become a one-stop shop. Everything is being done in a home. So what comes with that responsibility, listen to me. What comes with that responsibility is you have to have a healthy state of mind. Mental health is very, very important, right? Now, if you don't nourish your spirit, if you don't have an endowed spirit, a spirit of elevation, a spirit of acknowledging that connection you have with your higher self, what happens is people start to lose it. So people are going, there's lots of, abuse in homes right now. There's lots of people who are going nuts. And I'm going, man, I like this. I like what I'm going through right now. It's giving me an opportunity to revisit Danny, to just check up on myself and go, what's going on? To speak to God, to have time alone and actually revisit, some of those insecurities, some of those fear-based things that I used to do, some of the things that I tried to control, some of the things that I wanted to gain power from, some of the approvals I was looking for from people, and I started to realize, hold on a second, I don't need that. I'm wholesome and I'm awesome as I am, because guess what? I have a spirit in me that's connected to the ultimate spirit. And you cannot attain any level of success unless you have a spiritual life. Listen to me and be very careful. There are people who do things that are evil to acquire money, and they do work. There are people who worship all kinds of different gods to acquire money, and those things do work. But let me tell you something. What's undisputed? What's undisputed is I have never seen anybody offer me proof that God doesn't exist. There is no proof whatsoever. It's just that people have, I don't know, man. And it's a weird thing. I think it was Brad Pitt who said, he said, when I was, an atheist and I used to tell people, I used to think it's cool. And then he met Jolie and they were into all these kind of different things. And then eventually he said, man, he said, when I lost my marriage, he said, I realized that God is alive. And I'm listening to this dude. I'm going, this guy's talking about God. He said, you see, Hollywood and God, it wasn't like a connection. But right now, there are people who had billions of dollars. There are people who had, a guy who lost all his money in the stock market. He came in, he killed his wife, he killed his kids, and he killed himself. His power was centered on objects. What he worshipped was gone, therefore he had to go with it. True success is not what you have, it's what you become. So I want to give you the self-referral. We're spiritual beings that have a choice to live a limited life of our human being. Watch this, okay? And I wrote this down. We're spiritual beings that have a choice to live a limited life as human beings. So we live in the state of being just human. Watch this. Or you can do this. You can be a spiritual human being. You can start to indulge your spirit. You can start to draw from your spirit because your spirit man is intuitive. That's why I said to you before in my last teachings, and I said, you cannot measure intuition. It is impossible to measure intuition. So watch what happens. This is the beauty of self-referral. A self-referral, therefore, a person who refers to a higher spirit and has a higher sense of themselves. Watch this. They are fearless. They're immune to criticisms. They don't think anybody is above them or beneath them. They don't. And this is not religion. This is just spirituality, right? A healthy dose of spirituality teaches you this. They are above no one and they're beneath no one. People who are heavily endowed in spirit, they are humble. They have a huge amount of humility, engulfing them in everything they do. Spiritual life is humble. So is success. Success is humble. You've heard me say this many times. Success is humble and it's untamable. It's so fearless, spiritual walk. It's so fearless, it's untamable. And this is one thing you have to understand. When you have a spiritual endowment in you and you provoke it and you activate it, this is what happens. You then start to realize that we all have the same spirit. It's just how much do you want to draw out of your spiritual man. What really limits us is our ego. Because sometimes you have flashes of your ego coming through, and sometimes you have flashes of your spirit, especially when we're in distress, especially when people have a car accident or there's a plane that's just about to go down. You see that woman, that man who says, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God. You see them saying, oh my God, we're going down. God, please, God. All of a sudden, they activate their spirit. It's prevalent anyway. And it's the same spirit, and it will serve you to the degree to which you actually believe that you can actually get from that. So this is really powerful. And I saw a fight between Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. And they're saying they're going to have a rematch or whatever. And if you don't believe in boxing or you don't like it, I do apologize. But let me tell you, Mike Tyson was unbeatable. So Evander fought him, he beat him. He knocked him out. Mike Tyson lost to Evander Holyfield. The whole world was in shock. I was like, man, I can't believe this. This is not happening. This is my guy. This is Iron Mike. How do you beat Iron Mike? Because he had lost like a couple of fights. He lost to Douglas and another guy. And then he was beaten by Evander Holyfield. And Lennox Lewis as well. So anyway, before the fight started, so Evander Holyfield is such a big, he's a big religious guy. So Evander Holyfield is singing, man. He's singing hymns. He's singing Amazing Grace. He's so happy. So people are saying, are you not scared? He goes, man. He goes, I'm spirit-filled. When he arrived in the ring, it was so scary. I have never seen Mike Tyson just reduced to this little guy. Mike Tyson was the biggest fear in boxing at the time. I think it was in the 80s or 90s or whatever. The guy came up, man, like he started fighting, knocking people out at the age of 15, 16, he was fighting, 18, he was, world champion, and the rest is history. But watch what happens. So Evander Holyfield is coming in saying, Jesus, I love you. And he's calling, he's saying, Holy Spirit, make me holy. He's singing, and he's laughing, and he's chanting, he's jumping, and people are saying, what is wrong with this man? So people started saying he is possessed. When Mike Tyson started fighting Evander, the fight started. I saw Mike Tyson, he was getting angry. And Evander was laughing. He said, come on, man. Come on. Give me some more. Tyson was so frustrated. I think it was the second or third round. He had to bite Evander Holyfield's ear off. He just jumped on the guy, and because he was so frustrated. Because that was a fight between ego and spirit. The David and Goliath. David, spirit. Goliath, bigger, stronger, ferocious, deadly, a man mountain, ego. Do you understand? So you need to understand the difference between the two. Those of you who seek success, and I'm going to finish on this. This is really, really important. So self-power or spiritual power is true power. Spiritual power or self-power is magnetic. It draws things onto you. It's magnetic. The world has no choice but to submit itself. Those people who are so rich in spirit, when you hear this guy has an unbreakable spirit, you've seen them in the arenas fighting. You've seen them in politics. You've seen Nelson Mandela. Do you think he's not man to feel the pain that was inflicted on him? The torment, the torture, the frustration. Do you think it wasn't man? But guess what? His spirit man was elevated. He was stronger than his ego. So self-power is supported by the laws of nature. You see, God made the world so that it can actually support us. We are supposed to be supported by nature. And everything you want, as long as you have a connection, a spiritual connection to the source, you are able to actually acquire those things that you want. If you don't have a connection, you have a disconnection, you cannot acquire. Now I'm about to get a little bit more complex here. Some of you, your brain, I need you to just really now just switch on a higher level of your brain. Are you enjoying this? Give me like a 10, man. Are you loving this, or listen, man. I had to go get this information for you. I prayed about it. I meditated about it, and it's here now. Are you liking this? Are you drawing from this, or is your ego stopping you from learning from this? All right. So now I'm going to talk to you about activation. This is the most important part today. If you like this, put a 10. Doris put 100. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. If you like it, put a 10. If you like it so much, put 100. No problem. Okay, so listen to this, yeah? This is very, very big. The things that activate your spiritual life are so basic they will shock you. They are so basic. They require no money. Nobody sells them in any shop. They're not in a shopping mall. They are within you. The stuff that you seek to make you a powerful, successful person is buried within you. You actually are with it everywhere you go. Watch this. Watch this. And I'm gonna give it to you like this, right? The activation of a life of a person who's living a very successful spiritual life. Watch. these are 4 things that I practice, and I wish them upon you, and I pray to God that you have the understanding and also go away and research it yourself. Number 1 is spending time in silence. Spending time in silence. This is one of the best ways to activate your spiritual life, especially now that we live in the most difficult time where everybody's telling you, where the press is very, very, very keen to tell everybody that we are living in the most devastating times. And those who are rich in ego, the object referral types, they are devastated. They are at the point in their lives where they're going, can this really work? And those who are living a really, really heavily spiritual lifestyle, they're saying this is a beautiful time to connect with God. But watch this. Silence is very important. Why is silence important? Silence is the only way you can access your inner man. You see, when you speak because you're thinking. When you think 24/7 and your brain is moving, like, it's moving at supersonic speed, apparently men have, I think, 60,000 thoughts a day. And your brain is moving and you're moving, you're thinking, it's very turbulent. It's very, very difficult to, be creative at all. Now, creativity is the production of the life you desire. To create something is to make something. To make a life you desire is to create a life you desire. Watch. If your brain is always working and is turbulent all the time, unfortunately, you cannot think straight. And if you can't think straight, unfortunately, you cannot produce any meaningful, sustainable results. So silence is very good. Silence actually quietens you down. And the minute you start doing it, you may start with 1 hour, 2 hours, or I don't know, you may start with 30 minutes a day just to go quiet for 30 minutes. Don't talk to anyone. You can be around people, just don't talk. Have you ever noticed that some of the most powerful people in the world are actually very quiet people? They don't say too much, and when they speak, it's well thought out. So they actually allow themselves, something I'm about to teach you now. The second part of activating your spiritual life is meditation. Now, when you hear meditation, people think of Asia. They think of the Eastern myth of, meditation or whatever. Meditation is quoted in the Bible. It's one of the most ancient ways to actually pray and meditate. You have to pray and meditate. Meditation. That's really, really powerful. If you spend 20 minutes, half an hour just sitting down and being still and not thinking about anything, you don't even have to be in a particular posture. People say, sit like this, put your hands like this. You don't have to do none of that stuff, because if you do this and you're thinking about, okay, my hands are up, I'm really tired now, that's not meditation. You're thinking about tiredness, right? You need to just be in a position where you can relax and nothing is disturbing you. Switch off your music, no TV, no books, no phone, nothing. Half an hour or whatever. You can have maybe a little bit of music in the background for meditation if you want to do that. But let me tell you, it's beautiful. You see, when you're bloated and you're constipated, they say cleanse your system. When your skin goes bad, they give you a cleanser. Okay? So what a cleanser is to your skin, what cleansing your body, your system is to a spiritual life. Meditation is cleansing. Meditation cleanses your system. This is a really powerful thing. But it's meditation and prayer. So you got to meditate and you have to pray. And I said it at the beginning, I'm not talking religion here. Whatever you worship, worship it with devotion. Whatever you've decided that's what I call God, do it. Eventually, hopefully, we can all find true God. All of us are seeking the same thing. The third thing is spending time not judging. Don't be judgmental. This is one of the hardest things to do. I try it and I do it. I've been doing it for years. It's very difficult not to judge. Human beings, we spend a lot of time focused on judging other people. And worse than that, we spend a lot of time waiting for other people's judgment of us. So become non-judgmental. When you see somebody doing something, don't say that's a goofball. Don't say that person is stupid or whatever. Just go, you know what? That's what they want to do. If somebody says something that's offensive, just go, you know what? And it's hard. It's very hard. It's very difficult because the ego kicks in. The ego says, what? Customer says, I'm not interested. You go, what do you mean you're not interested? Why are you looking at me like that? You can say that, you know, without being really rude. No, don't judge. The guy says, I'm not interested. But what I'll do is I'll send you to my office and they'll buy 10. But you didn't get the second part of the conversation because you judged the person and you jumped on them before you could actually, do business with them. Sometimes you meet somebody just by looking at them, you judge them. This is human nature, we do that. But if you can practice that spirit of non-judgmental, of just being open, to just watching how people do, it's amazing. It's amazing how your life will transform. And the last thing that I do, and again, this is my perception, this is how I run my spiritual life. I do those 3 things diligently. I spend time in silence. Unfortunately, I was locked up in Uganda, didn't really get a chance to go to the UK to be with my family during this time. So I spent a lot of time alone, and it's good. I actually spend time just not really doing anything, just thinking, but also sometimes I say, I'm going to stop thinking. I'm going to take a break from thinking today. It's amazing when you stop your thoughts, right? And then the other thing is spend time in nature. Spend time in nature. There's a life you draw. There's a spirit you draw from the trees and the water and the rivers and the air, the atmosphere. There's a reason why most of these prophets, even Jesus himself, why they used to go to the top of the mountain. There's a reason they used to go to nature. They didn't lock themselves in a hotel. They actually went out to be in nature. You see, nature is so abundant, it's so powerful. It is so powerful. If you really start to, feel its grandeur, and you start to draw from how grateful nature is. Nature is so grateful, and nature is so fearless. Look at Uganda. Homes that were like, $2, $3, $4 million homes in Garuga. They were washed. Water just came and swept. It doesn't apologize. Just move out, man. That's nature. Don't play. You understand? Have you seen a tree? You cut a big tree, just goes into a house and it doesn't apologize, right? So you need to spend time with nature and top up on yourself. But watch this. Our creative genius sits between, listen, our creative genius sits in the gap between our thoughts. Our creative genius sits in the gap between our thoughts. Watch this. Silence cleanses your system. So you slow down your thinking process. So you now have gaps between your thoughts. Watch. If you walk into a pond, or to a pond, sorry, not into a pond, but if you walk to a pond and it was a still pond and you had 2 rocks in your hands, when you throw the first one in the pond, you see a ripple. You just watch it and it ripples. And then you wait, and then it stops, and it goes still again. And then you throw another one, and then it ripples again. You see, if your mind is like a still pond, and it's cleansed, it doesn't have turbulence, every little thought that you drop in your mind ripples across your mind, just like that little rock did with the pond. But if you have so many thoughts and you're stressed and you're on the go and you're doing this and you're worshiping your God, you're doing this and you're doing this, and what happens is you can throw the biggest building in the world, you can throw a truck in it, it won't make any difference. You won't notice it. Why? Because your mind is so turbulent. So what cleanses the gap between your thoughts, what makes it, because what happens is if your mind is turbulent, the gap between your thoughts is squeezed. So when it squeezes, like your arteries, when you have blood trying to squeeze through a small hole rather than a normal size, what happens is you have, high blood pressure. So your thoughts are being suffocated there's so much going on, and you can't really take a break and go, hold on a second. So what you have to do is you go, you know what? Let me just go silent. When you go silent, the gap opens up. You're thinking one thought at a time. And people start to say, what happened, man? he doesn't seem to be doing much more, but he's getting more. Why are you getting more? Because there's a gap between your thoughts. And that creative genius, that's where your juice is buried. In between those two thoughts, that's where your juice is buried. But because they're so clogged up with so many different things, and approval, this, fear, rejection, all of these things that you're worshiping outside, that's the things you're searching, you're pulling in, what happens is, unfortunately, your creative genius is suffocated. So silence will open the gap. When it opens the gap, you start to meditate. When you start to meditate and you pray, and you're asking for the right things in your prayers, when they drop into that still pond, now all of a sudden it ripples. You see, in the Bible it says, stand still and know that I'm God. That's what God says. Stand still and know that I'm God. He didn't say, I am God, stand still. There's a very powerful message in the syntax. He didn't say, I am God, therefore stand still. He said, stand still and then get into the knowledge that I am God. People miss that part. So there's so much power in stillness. You have got to be still so that you can allow your mind to breathe. And then it creates those gaps, those beautiful, juicy gaps, healthy gaps between your thoughts. And that's where you start to become a genius. That's where you start to sift out the junk. You see, if you're drinking a glass of juice and somebody throws in one little, a pea or something like that, it's so easy to say, man, what did you do? Just get a spoon and you take it out. But if they throw in 50 different things, you just put the glass aside. You say, I'm not drinking this. The drink is ruined. There's so many different things. You can't choose what's good for you, what's not good for you. That's how the mind works. Some people are trying to buy good furniture, new furniture, and you're putting it in a house of a hoarder. Somebody who has so many boxes, so much furniture, there's nowhere to put the new furniture. So you bring in the new one, you're putting it at the door, and you're saying, yeah, put it in there. And it's still wrapped in boxes because there's nowhere to unbox it from. So you have to clear the old clutter from your house, paint the walls, get some fresh air, and put the new furniture. And that's how the mind works. And I finish on this. When you have a turbulent mind and the gap has been squeezed, your thoughts lose power. You've lost the power in your thoughts. They're not very, very, very smart thoughts. They don't create enough. So cleanse it like you cleanse your system, like you cleanse your skin. And the way to cleanse it is through meditation, through going silent, through taking walks, to somewhere in the neighborhood. Just go find a banana plantation and walk. Or whatever you do, go find a water feature and sit next to it. Go sit by the rocks and sit there and just spend an hour just watching. Sometimes sit outside and watch the sky. It is really, really powerful. Meditation creates stillness. Okay? And when you're still, guess what? Everything that you've been waiting for starts to come to you. Have you ever had an idea and it just disappears? And then the day you're lying in bed sick, you're at home, you're sick, you've thought, you've stressed, you've done everything, you know you're going to be in bed anyway, and you start knocking off, you watched movies, it didn't work out, you read a book you didn't want to, and you start to relax, and as you start to drift into sleep, that thought comes back to you. You go, oh my God, about 6 years ago, I had this idea. It just came back into my head. You know why? Because your mind is still. Be still. Be still. Stillness creates those gaps. It gives you a space to be silent. And when you're silent, your mind starts to go, wow, this is good. Then you start to create. Every single person that's really, really super successful, that have attracted a lot of wealth in their lives, they have attracted a lot of friends, they have a big, big circle of networks of people. They're heavily spiritual. Whatever they worship, that's their preference. I don't know. I'm not going to say to you, everybody's, doing the same thing. We're all righteous or whatever. Some of us think we're righteous, but we're actually not. And some of us think we're not righteous. We actually are. But what I want you to take away from this is whatever you worship it with devotion. You praise it, you worship it with devotion, because spirituality will actually bring you more material wealth than you've ever fathomed in your life. And listen, man, there's no poverty in the kingdom. There is absolutely no poverty in the kingdom. No, not at all. But because we're egotistic, when things don't work, you go, what's wrong with me? When things start to work, you go, yeah, that's me, that's me. No. When things are not working, you got to question and say, what am I communicating? Because if the basis of your creation is your thoughts, and now you've understood that through spiritual enhancement, you can actually cleanse that filter that brings in your thoughts. What happens is, man, everything starts to open up for you. Those clients that say no, they start looking for you. Those people you've been looking for, they start calling you because you've released yourself. It says surrender. It's in every book. It doesn't say hold on. You see, the universe is so powerful. It's both dynamic and still. It's forever moving, forever changing, forever this, all of those things. And conversely, it's still, you understand? And it doesn't move. It doesn't change. Do you understand? So when God created all these things, the energy that we have, this vibration, what you guys refer to, she has a bad vibe. She has a bad vibe. That's called a vibration. It's energy. A bad spirit. The guy has, he has a weird spirit on him, And if you want to go deeper, you can go into it. People who created earthly things, that people who made alcohol, they actually emulated the 7 spirits in the Bible. There's 7 spirits, yeah? And alcohol also has 7 spirits, tequila, all this kind of stuff, right? Let me tell you, and they call them spirits, So when you drink that stuff, you're possessed by all these different kinds of spirits that you didn't even invite. Let me tell you something. Don't mess with your spirit life. You can do anything. You can be really overweight. You can, feed wrong. You can do all of those things. If you nourish your spirit, it will instruct you how to fix all the other stuff. Your physiology, your psychology, your emotional state, all of those things. Because remember, the soul is alive. The soul is where it's the housing. It's the housing for your senses, your passion, your appetite, all of those things. Your spirit is the connection to God. And you can choose to be connected, or you can choose to be disconnected. Or you can choose to say, it doesn't exist, so I don't care, that's bogus. And there are people, there might even be somebody in this going, oh, I don't know, I don't believe that. It's okay. It's okay. I know that if I go on a building, on top of a building, and I jump, I know I'm going to hit the ground, for sure. I also know that if I'm walking in darkness and I'm about to step on a snake and my leg jumps, I also know that I did not instruct my leg to jump. There was something in me that was able to instruct my leg unbeknown to me, something that I don't control. Because you can't say to me there's no intuition in the human being. There's no one that has no intuition. All of us have it. Because why? Because there's something in you that's bigger and greater than you are. So all the money in the world that you seek, all the happiness that you seek, all the relationships that you seek, all the things that you're looking for, the networks, they are buried in that gap where you go, I want to listen in and access this inner power, because when you do, the externals will look for you. But if you're trying to access the externals and you abandon the inner power, boom, finished. So tomorrow I'm going to finish this on what I'm calling mind the gap. I'm going to teach you how to jump in the gap and be in between those two thoughts. And man, I'm studying it myself. I've been doing it for years. I haven't quite mastered it because I have some big aspirations. I have things that I want to do for humanity. I want to open up schools of life. I want to, build villages. I want to build, things for people. I want to be so abundant, because I know that the glory is not for me. I learned something that just really, really, I love it so much. The thing that I love the most. I realized some time ago that it's nothing to do with me. if I listen and I obey, and I actually listen to the spirit man, the wisdom that's buried in him, the things he can unearth, the giants that are buried in that inner man, you cannot buy it with. It's not in any book except I'm telling you, you have access to it. And through the word, because the Bible was written, and again, please forgive me if I'm not talking about some of the other religion or whatever, but when you look at some of the principles from COVID-19 to everything that's around us right now, listen, there's no movie that's not like it's something that's already happened in somebody's mind or whatever, and it was passed on in generations, and finally it was manifested. There are things that my father left me in his silos. There are blessings, there are treasures that my father left me that he was not able to manifest. He was not able to unearth. But I know that if I'm diligent and I obey and I listen, I'll be able to access those treasures and access my treasure. And I'm sure my kids eventually will be able to access my treasures that I've left behind. But one thing that I can tell you is, do not let your ego stop you from your greatness. It's not money that you lack. It's not friends that you lack. It's not happiness that you lack. It's not intelligence that you lack. You just lack an awakening, a realization that, guess what? Everything you've been looking for is right in you. So provoke your spirit man and trust me. You would tell me in a couple months' time, you'd be saying, it becomes spontaneous. You say something, it happens. And that's it. Thank you very much. This is Danny, and this is Lose Your Mind, the Tribe. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, great. Enjoy this and share this with your friends. Some of you have racked your brains a little bit. You don't get too deep into this kind of stuff. But this is how I live my life, and I'm sharing my understanding, my perception on these things. And I hope it blesses you, or it blesses somebody you share this with. But do me a favor, don't miss tomorrow. Mind the gap. Tomorrow is the finale. We're going to do that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you.